think because I loved this image so much and it just reminded me of this group so much, I really wanted to try it. But I want you to go easy on yourself in terms of how well this goes, right? Because watercolor is not about excessive mark making. Watercolor is a very minimalist. It's a minimalist thing. I'll show you. Let me show you. I mean, we've been doing animals all week. Oh, hold on. I'll go get them. I want to show you the others that what everybody else has done. Right here, I'm going to spotlight this so you guys can see it. So here was our, whoops, not pin. I want to spotlight. There we go. Okay. No. So this is what I want to spotlight. So this is what we did on Wednesday. I want you to look at how much white space there is. I want you to look at like how few and how subtle the mark making is. This is what we did yesterday. Everything here.
That's nice.
The day before.
All white. It's yesterday. Last night, right? All of this is white space that has not been used. Even though this bird has a lot of feathers, there's very little. The marks are very subtle. So you're going to want to go all over this thing. And in acrylic or oil, you could do that and then pull back to more subtle marks on the base. But just remember with watercolor, less is more. And that's because the water creates, here I'm going to do this just on the outside of the paper so that you can see, not in my, you can see I've got a little thing, because the texture of the watercolor, the paper creates so much texture. Look at this, one stroke. It's really appealing, right? So less is more, I guess is my point here. So a lot of it's going to be control. I understand. I'm the same. I'm like, I don't like control either. We're going to start by looking at a black and white of this, because I want to also, this is one of the tricky things about it is this tiger is black and white mostly with these stunning blue eyes, or this cheetah.
It's a snow leopard.
No leopard.
Snow leopard.
Yes, but the snow leopard is that way. But I'm going to right now outline. So this is white, but it's not an area that we leave white. This is white, but it's not an area we leave white. However, this area we leave. So remember that there are whole, I'm just outlining it so you can really see it. There are whole areas that we are going to leave unpainted, and that's going to be hard. But I'm going to challenge you to really stick with it. The sort of good news about that, I'm just looking to see if there's any other super white areas. Down here. Right. So this whole side of the snow leopard's face, I'm just looking on here to see. Yeah, I think everything else here has some kind of gray in it, which means that we're going to be mixing gray, right? So this all has gray in it, which we'll be mixing and I'll be working with you on. It's these super light white areas that we're leaving untouched. So I've just outlined them. These are all the white area map. I'll go back to the, and when you are drawing, I want you to keep that area in mind as you're sketching here. I think I'm going to try to do this. So of course, as always, we're going to be starting with the drawing. And the first things we're going to do is this outside shape. One thing that's been helpful in all the classes, I'm going to do, and I'll show you how to do this. Give me just a second. I'm going to take a picture of this to make sure you guys can see it. I'm going to do a kind of a small grid. But I'm not gonna, on my paper, I'm only gonna mark it very lightly. So this is, and you don't have to do this because, right, because I'm handling the source. So here is the halfway point. I like to, on compositions where I'm just trying to figure out where to place things, I like to add just the halfway points, right? Like as if I folded this paper in half. There we go. So that I can kind of figure out where different features are, because we struggle. You want to center more, right? So this shows you kind of where is the nose, right? It's not here in the center. It's a little bit off, mostly off to the right, the mouth. So the most of the face is on this side. Less of the face is on this side. So how do I mark that here? This is what I like to do. Because less is more. I mean, we want marks. I like to just mark the edges. So I'm doing this with a pencil. I like to mark the edges and not draw the lines, but have them, here we go. I'm, by the way, working from an 8 by 10 inch. And then here in the center, I'm going to find the halfway point. So see, I know where my halfway point, I know where my cross is, but I haven't actually drawn the line. I know it's tough to see. There it is. So I like to do that. So this is about 8 by 10 inches, which is, let's see, I don't know how many centimeters. Let me find out. Which is the same if you want to work the same. I have all these rulers that have a ton of paint on them, so I can no longer read the numbers. Let's see, it's basically 20.5 centimeters on the short side and 25.5 centimeters on the long side, roughly. So if you want to create a space that's big. And then I can use this. So I know that on this side, hi, lady. Luca's out and running around. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep my pencil light, but I know that's a little tricky to see. Here, actually, the first thing I'm going to do is take a picture of this little map with your first. So the first lines you're going to draw are the pink ones. Where is WhatsApp? Here we go. There we go. But the black ones show the areas that you're going to mark off once you have room inside. The black ones are the areas of white that we're just going to leave white. So as you see here, I'm kind of coming in and just a little bit over the halfway. Yeah, not too far is where the head ends on this side. So this animal, this gorgeous animal, you could come over a little farther. And also, so notice I'm paying a lot of attention to my shape. Yeah, bending down a little bit. There we go. So you see, I still have this grid to kind of help me basically keep things in proportion, but it's not as serious a grid. I use this a lot for cityscapes. Oops, made that too big. As usual, it's easy to make things too big. Look, I'm doing it too. And the grid is actually helping me see that. There we go. Okay, I come down. This stays pretty far to the left. That's our first line. That's simple. Don't start drawing the eyes yet. I know some of you are going to do that. Don't. You're bound to get them in the wrong places. Just bound. Here we are. The other thing I like about watercolor, which I've been talking about all week, is how much it causes you to slow down and reflect. I mean, I know you guys are all loving painting, right? It's very exciting. Did I get this in the right place? Yes. And it's hard to slow yourself down and be more methodical, to be more thoughtful about your mixing, for example. Let's see. Oh, and I didn't make that big enough. Notice I'm kind of assessing all the time and looking at shapes. I'm always adjusting. So I'm the teacher, right? I do this like a lot of hours a week. I'm still not getting it right. I'm not even assuming that I'm going to get this drawing right on the first time, even with my grid. So I'm always looking at shapes and adjusting things. And when you've done that, let's add some of these inside lines, including these dark lines that I have outlined in black, which are going to be your white areas. Okay, let's talk, and we'll talk about locating the eyes, because I know you guys are going to make the eyes too big. Notice I'm not outlining every sort of spot or stripe. I'm outlining kind of major light, medium, and dark shapes. So, because we've got to simplify this. All right, so if you're locating where the eyes are, let's start by kind of bringing a line across. Okay. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a little bit less than a third, not as much as a quarter. So if I want to find kind of my third, 1, 2, 3. Yep. I think down here. So I want to find a third up from my center. And maybe, and this is the top of the eye line, if you can see, and then maybe run a light line across. And then 1, 2, looks like there's 2 eye spaces between the eyes, and basically 1 eye space on either side, a little bit less than 1 eye space on this side because we can't see the whole thing. Whoops. So here is where your eye starts, right? And then I know that just a little bit less than, let's see. I'm going to guess that maybe the first eye is about here and here. 2, and then I'm going to measure, see, is there 1 eye space on this side? Here, there is. Yep, so there's 1 equal eye space on this side. There should be 2 eye spaces on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's not quite right. So I think this needs to be slightly bigger. So spend some time. Don't just plop the eyes where you think they are. I see this happen a lot. I want you to be methodical. I want you to be more thoughtful about your measurements, because we'll be able to tell. One, 1, 1, 2. So I want almost 5 eye spaces across, equal. And I know they're in the right place when I have 1 eye space on this side, 2 eye spaces between, and then on the last side, the eye kind of comes off the page a little bit. So almost 5, but not quite. Just like we do with humans. Right? Get the, so they'll be smaller than you think. I'm not going to get into too much detail right now. I kind of want to just locate where those are. Let's see. I'm going to get this guy and sorry, here, I'll put these. I'll put this here so you can really see it. I'm going to send this over too so you can see what this little, what your little drawing map is. So the pink lines and now the inner black lines are what we're drawing. Uh-oh. So really, it's interesting for those of you who've been doing watercolor for a couple of weeks. One of the things, so here is an area, by the way, that's going to stay completely white right here. One of the things that I find interesting about watercolor is we're going to spend way more time drawing than we are painting, actually physically painting. It's going to take longer. I think the next good idea is to identify the nose. So we can see that the nose is a little bit, if you see, the nose kind of starts a little bit under the halfway line. And it's mostly on this side. I'm drawing. I'm drawing this line, and then I'm coming in here and drawing this line. So remember, don't put this nose centered in the center. It's a little bit to the right of center. Your brain is going to want to tell you to put this nose center, but don't do it. I think once we get these major shapes in, it's going to be easier to get the other shapes in. And now we all see why Sandra likes to do cats, because they have these really big features.
Eyes.
Well, they're big, right?
They have beautiful color eyes. I love that, which dogs don't have as much, except huskies, maybe. But the lemur beats it all.
The lemur beats it all. The red panda is probably the cutest little fighter. But the lemur beats them all. Do not color anything in. Listen to me, I'm all like, don't. These are all the things I don't want you to do. If you color it in with lead, it affects your, that'll mix with your, all the lead mixes with your pencil, mixes with your paint, and it'll make your paint duller. Okay, so once I
So-
get the nose in here,
Am I right that the left eye is slightly higher than than the right?
yeah, they're
When I run a line, when I run a ruler across,
slightly, but not.
the eyelid is above.
Yes, he's turned a little bit to. This part of the face is a little bit closer to us. He's a little bit turned this way, so this may be down a little bit. Everything's bigger on this side. You'll notice. It looks like he's facing us, but he is not. I can tell because I can see more of the eye on this side and more of the nostril on this side than on this side. You can kind of see. All right, so now that I've got the nose in, I can start to block in some of these inner shapes. Here, I'll get in a few more for you. Right, so there's a kind of medium, a darker, and a lighter shape. All these are next to each other. They should all be paid equal attention to. Oops, bring this in a little bit. And then there's a little. Right, this light area comes right up against. So this is what right now what I'm drawing is a light area that I'm not going to paint. I'm going to just leave white. You've got this challenge of the whiskers, some of which are white. We'll just do the best we can. We may not be able to get all the white whiskers, but we'll try. Okay, so this first light area, that's going to be left light. So white really plays such a significant role. I have so much to say this morning. Why is that? I don't know. Watercolor makes me very philosophical. I'm sorry, you guys. Philosophical about the painting process. You really feel the jigsaw puzzle of it all here. Although he's got more pouch, you know, with whiskers on this side, I kind of divided it in half like this because this side is really significantly darker. The right side that I'm working on right now is kind of significantly darker than the left. I'm not going to try and draw the pouches in. I'm just drawing kind of shapes around them. There we go. And now here's his little goatee. This also is not totally white. This is a little bit gray. Thank God. Something we can paint. However, this area that I'm coming up to right now, let's see, comes right to the right. This is pretty light. We may add a little bit of paint here, but not very much. Here is another area. Based on the placement of the white areas, what side is where is the light coming from?
From the left.
Yes, excellent. Marvelous. What a majestic creature, eh?
Oh, they're amazing. You know, they're able to run down at full speed, down steep mountains.
Wow.
It's amazing to see.
I'm going to add in a few more.
I mean, when I say steep mountains, I mean like cliffs.
Right. Wow. Notice how on this side, the same part of the nose on this side is so light. And on this side, here, I'll draw it in dark so you can see it better. And on this side is so dark, right? Notice that. So, and that's, I think, the thing that messes with people. We expect symmetry, right? Or we want it. We crave symmetry. And that just is rarely what's happening. Here, hold on. I'm going to finish this drawing up. So remember, your eyes are going to be as big and beautiful as these eyes are. They are smaller than you think they are. There's a here. Even though we can't necessarily see reflective light, I'm going to suggest you put one in. So just have a little square that you're going to keep light. I'm not worried about, we're going to add as much stripes as we want to, but kind of later up here. I do feel like this looks a little bit wide, so I'm going to bring that in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Maybe just that much. We've got a lot of kind of medium and dark areas here. I'm not worried about fur yet. I think that's pretty much for the moment. So let me take a picture of this. I think it's in pretty good shape. Yeah, it's a, there we go. So here is our snow leopard. Now, you guys, I want you to take your time, kind of sketch out all the lights and darks as you see, the way I have them. Don't worry about all this extra business. This is going to be the last thing we'll add on. We're going to start with our kind of bigger layers. Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't get everything. Here's here. And then there's a few really dark areas. Meow. Wow, wow, wow. Who's that? Is that Annika? Is that your cat?
No, it's Lion.
No.
Is that Lion?
He wants to go out, but I'm not letting him out because he escapes. He
He is
explodes.
naughty. Naughty lion. Bad lion. Good bad
No.
lion.
Naughty is his nickname.
Naughty. Here we go. So in fact, I am so confident you guys are going to be spending a little bit, Annika, not bad. I think your eyes could be a little bit wider across, like vertically, Annik. Otherwise, looks pretty good shape. I'm going to quickly pour myself another cup of coffee, and then I'll be back to you. So take your time.
Oh my God, what a mess.
Hi, Anya. Not bad, but the nose needs to be wider. Look at where this nostril lines up. It lines up with the edge of the eye on either side, the inner edge of the
So
eye.
yeah, I
Yep.
see this.
Yep. Just like people.
Yeah, I think it's also a bit too up, so I moved it down a bit.
Okay. Once you adjust the nose, you'll see that the mouth will adjust a bit. Good. Hello, everybody. Julia, Natalia, Anya, Emma, Lana. Hi, everybody. Anya. I think I got everybody. I think I said hello to everybody. Okay. And I think when I look at the actual colors of this thing, the gray has a very, I'm thinking it's gonna be purple again, the purple yellow mixture, but just looking at the colors. Hello, lady. You wanna come over and say hi to everybody? Come here, come here, come here. Hi, hi. Hi. Come here. Come say hello. Jump up. God, cats will not do anything you ask them to. Only when you don't want them to will they do. Even the best cat, she's an A1 cat. She's a #1 kitty. Even she won't jump up. Come up and say hello. Okay, just stand there. I'm envisioning we're gonna need, I'll write all this down and I'll send you the mixes as well, but we're gonna need ultramarine blue as usual. Make sure you have some quinacridone red so we can make a purple. Or permanent red or permanent rose or quinacridone rose. Any of those will work. Hi. Hi. Hello, sweetie. Diana, are you working on your fishies this morning?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful,
I'm working on my fishes.
wonderful.
You didn't want to do his cat?
I do, but you know,
She
I
wants to,
thought-
she likes to finish her projects, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And I love these fishes.
Yeah, they're pretty, they're really lovely.
You know, the birds I did after the class, basically I just started very, very late. When we did the birds Wednesday. So
Alright.
I might come back to the leopard.
This is
Second.
no good.
Because they are super pretty.
Yeah, really. He is a really pretty dude.
Yeah,
He's
I
no
think-
leopard. He's very pretty. Sandra, what are your thoughts on the eye color? Are you thinking we should go in a more, should we try?
It's like a
Sort of-
blue-gray.
Yeah, yes, I
But-
know. So which blue is the question?
I don't know. I need to go rescue the wrens. My
All right,
cats
go
are
ahead.
harassing them. I can hear the alarm. Just a
I can
second.
hear it. Oh, shitheads. That looks pretty good, Natalia. Make sure to get,
Oh,
I think you've got this coming out a little wide. I don't know if you can see this, but the ear kind of comes in a little bit more.
oh.
Bring the head in on this side a little bit more. So this shape is like a white shape, and then this is another white shape. And then here's a dark shape, light shape.
Mhm. Okay.
Just bring it in. It's easy to like widen it out a little bit. Let's see. This also, this little puff also, if you notice, lines up. So look at what's happening when I drop my pen straight down, or when I drop my brush straight down. This puff lines up with the nostril, which lines up with the inner eye. I'm just making sure I have that happening. Oh yeah. So this lines up with this, lines up with that. Make sure that's happening. That'll help you kind of place. That means this jowl comes out a little bit wider. Yeah.
What about Prussian blue for the eyes?
I'm wondering, yes, like maybe mixed with, I'm wondering if we mix it with, it'll be, I think that's a good one to try. And really Prussian has phthalo in it, so we can maybe play with phthalo. Rashmi, okay. That's looking pretty good. So don't forget this bit of scruff, Rashmi, you've forgotten this second white area, sort of grayish white area, and it should line up with the nostril, the inside of the eye. There you go. Otherwise, looks pretty good. Okay, let's see, Emma. In general, girls, I don't like actually having this. I have this here so you can see it. I try not to draw it. I know you missed the beginning of class. What I was showing people is I'll just do a mark where the center is, where the two lines cross, and on the edges, so that I don't have to erase this line later, just for future reference. Emma, I feel like this nostril is coming out a little bit farther than it should, or maybe this line doesn't extend far enough. This seems too, you know what it is? This is too small. So notice this actually comes out over almost a little bit on the other side of the halfway point. You've got it all scrunched up in here. That's the thing that's bugging me. So make this side, this bit bigger. Otherwise, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
So, Leah, for the color, I think some turquoise with gray.
We'll have to try. I mean, you have, listen, you have to mix grays. So you're going to have to like mix. Yeah. We're going to play with eye color is what we're, right? You're going to have to. So how do you get gray? Turquoise, you mix with an orange, right? To get like, to see if we can get it. I see. I'm just out of curiosity while you guys are still setting in your drawings. I'm just going to test a couple of things. Make sure you have some testing paper. So make sure you have two really crucial things. One is, here I'll show you. Security blanket, your blankie, right, in your non-drawing hand. The second is you are not going to touch your paper with your brush until you've tested your color on testing paper. I'm just using regular printing paper. So you're going to need a separate piece of paper where you can test all your colors before you dry them. I'm going to once again, let's see. I feel like there's almost a little bit of, it's very cool. I feel like there's almost a little bit of viridian green. So now I'm mixing a little bit of orange in with blue. Maybe if I bring in a little green, that might do it. And then light. Now it'll get too green. I don't think turquoise is the answer. It's too green. I'm gonna try
Cerulean blue.
ultramarine. Well, you've got to mix it with orange. So remember, everything has to be mixed with an orange of some kind. Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah, can you do cobalt with permanent rose and yellow?
You could try
I
it and
make
see what
light-
happens. Absolutely.
Light grays like that? What?
Well, yes, I'm going to talk about all the grays. So don't panic. Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's a valid gray, but you want to see how it looks, right? Let's talk about grays. Since there's a lot of grays, and I will come up with mixes for the eye color, and we'll deal with the eyes last.
So you can try Patalo blue with burnt sienna, and if you have a little bit of white, you get a pretty good
Yeah, that's
Gray.
possible.
gray.
All
with
right,
the-
let's back off of that for a moment because I don't want you guys starting there. This is going to be our end point. What we really need to be thinking about are the grays that are in the whole face and how to start laying these grays down. So yeah, when I look at this color version of this piece, and let's return to it here. Sandra. Hold on. Sandra, his eyes too big. No, maybe not. Hold on.
I measured everything.
You did. You're good. You're good.
It's because I've got the eyelids and all the stuff
Yeah.
around.
You're good. You got it. Nice. This looks pretty good. Nice, good drawing. Sandra, I want to commend you. Your drawing, your eye has gotten so much better in the last year. Honestly, like you really are working on your drawing. It's really wonderful. to
Thank you.
see.
Practice makes perfect.
Nina, yeah, right. Nina, not bad. Your eyes are too high up.
Oh, okay.
So, right, there's more space. So really from this is where I'm like, I want you guys. So really,
Oh, I did a
from-
third the other way, I think.
right.
not
Right.
middle.
So,
Okay.
so there's right. So I could see you flipped something. So it should be 1, 2, 1. Well, this is it. 1, 2, 3 from to the top. So here's my center. Here, hold
It's
on.
halfway through, I think, to the top. Oh,
Yeah, a little bit less than halfway. Look,
okay.
see, a little bit less than halfway. So return to your source to really, and you've got this on the thread. It's less than halfway.
Do I lower them then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I have to redo the whole
There's
thing.
no, you don't have to redo the whole thing. You got to redo the eyes. Trust
Okay,
me.
but
Everything else, you might have to bring things down just a little bit, but really this shape, right, is as important.
oh yeah,
it's
his
less.
forehead. Yeah, okay.
Yep. So this is the practice, Nina. Gotta
Yeah,
make you do it.
drawing is such a.
Yeah, you have to pay
challenge.
attention. You have to pay attention.
I'm actually trying, but it
I
doesn't
know.
work. It
I
doesn't
know.
work.
I don't mean pay attention. I mean, it's a different kind of attention. You've got
Yeah.
to really become attuned, not just to what you're drawing, but what's around what you're drawing.
Okay, no,
Okay.
that's good.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense, right? So And don't worry, it's not going to be as much correcting as you think. Julia, let's see here. So Julia, I feel like we're missing. Okay, so make sure you get all these inner shapes in here. I didn't outline them, but look here. Here, I will outline exactly what I want you to get in, because all of these have a different color value. So take a look at the nose and really get all that. Everything looks good. Pieces. Rashmi, your nose seems to be a little low. Maybe you had the same issue. Hold on, I'm going to take a picture of this so I can send this over. So here's the nose. Here's all the things we got to get in the nose area. There we go. Rashmi.
Added that lower.
Whoops, I did it in the wrong place. Here, hold on. I totally said it to beginning drawing. Oh, well. Here we go. There. Yeah, let's see. So we've got, so really it's here, here. I just think you need to bring your nose up a little bit more, and this needs to be wider, right?
But then-
Narrower and wider.
The central point, that's why I just kept it a little lower than that. If you see, I have my central dot just above that.
I see that, but I'm talking about width. I'm not talking about,
Okay.
I'm talking about bringing this shapes. These are two.
Okay, the
Do
compact.
you see? Look at these shapes. There's
Yeah.
this shape, there's this shape, there's this shape, and then these around it. It's not just these shapes. You shortcutted here and you made this too small. So this shape really needs to rise up over.
Okay.
So this nose looks scrunched. Look at this shape. That's what I'm saying. Let's shapes, shapes. It's all shapes. Shapes, darling. And in a minute, I'm going to talk to you about I think everybody else, but it's good. I'm not saying it's not. Look, listen, these aren't bad. You know, you're just needing to do little minor corrections. As you saw, I've been correcting. I'm just quicker at correcting than you, right? I can see where I'm off and it's easier for me to correct. So this is not stuff that, you know, I'm not doing too, I guess is my point. All right. So yeah, there are a lot of grays here. And so once again, you have a couple of different options for mixing gray. Nina, the mix you suggested is not bad, but I want you to test it first and see. I'm going to do a couple to see what I like here. To me, there's a bit of purple in this. It's a very cool gray. There are warm grays and there are cool grays. Like over here, it's kind of warm. If you look at the original picture, it's almost kind of yellowy. And here it's kind of warmer, but here the grays are cooler and bluer. So as always, you're going to be mixing from your complement. Oh, wait, here, you're going to want to see this. Okay. So I'm going to start here so that you can, let's see. I'm actually going to move this. Nope, I'm going to move this over. So you can see, I want you to watch the mixing process that's happening. So here I've got my little, trying to figure out where to put everything so we can see it all. So here I've got my little trays. I've got everything, all my colors in order. I'm pulling up, and wait, should be able to see down here a little bit. So I'm starting with mixing my sort of basic favorite gray that I've been finding for animals. The animals that we've been doing is ultramarine blue, permanent rose, or quinacridone rose or red. So I get a purple. I'll send you pictures of this. I know you can't really see it super well. And then either yellow ochre or gamboge, which is a kind of mustardy yellow mixed in. So you can see I'm pulling little bits together. I got way too much yellow ochre in there, so now I've got to pull in. We don't want something that looks yellow or purple. We want something that's kind of in between. Yeah, this is very purpley. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to come up here and test it. So it's quite dark right now. Another reason for testing. I'm going to dip my brush in the water again, test it again. I'm not sure this is like the appropriate, it seems a little bit warm. I mean, it's a pretty gray. So I'm going to take a picture of it and break the mix down so you can see this gray. You guys, of course, get to decide what gray you want to use.
Is this for the fur or for the
This
eyes?
is for the fur. We're not dealing with
Okay.
the eyes right now. We're gonna get the fur down,
Okay.
and then we're gonna mix a color that will really wow for the eyes. So this is alt blue plus, but Nina, you can also try cobalt blue. So yeah, try all the different blues. I don't actually use cobalt blue. It's not really in my palette, but it'll definitely, I think it's a good one to try in this case. And it might even be a good one for the eyes. So when we get there, we'll get there. Quin red or rose plus gamboge or yellow ochre. And this is also with water. So this is mix number 1. I'll send it over so you can see it both kind of darker. And see, Sandra, that looks too blue to me. Way too
For
blue.
the eyes?
Yeah. No. Oh, is that for the eyes?
Yes, that's for the eyes.
Okay. All right. So possibly that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I think that actually looks, sorry, I thought that was the shadow for the face. That looks actually pretty good. So, but we're not going to do that now. Let's start by getting, so this here, right? This is the first mix. It's that purple mix. What do I have that's like cobalt? Now you've got me thinking about cobalt, Nina. It's funny. I'm going to try ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Burnt sienna can read as an orange or a red, and sometimes it'll make a cooler. Ooh, I might like that better for this one. Yeah, I think I do. So ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. If you get too much of one color in, you should maybe either wipe it out and start again. Oh yeah, that's, to me, in my mind, this is the color.
Let's see it by photo, please.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to write it down too. So alt blue plus burnt sienna. It's got kind of like, this is a little bit yellower, so it may work over here more. Oops. Who's 416? Oh, I see. Right. Alt blue plus burnt sienna. There you go.
Who's 416?
I don't know. Where's 416? Who's 416? Who left us?
Maybe it's a glitch. You know, somebody who didn't mean to leave.
Oh, yeah. Occasionally some weirdo. So yeah, do you see how this is kind of yellowier and warmer, and this is slightly ultramarine blue with burnt sienna? I think is going to be the one. Now, as usual, I'm using my 1/2-inch brush to do most of this beginning work. I will then switch over my little tiny brush for the 10, right? Look at the difference between them. And once again, I'm going to emphasize this. Where is that noise coming from? There we go. Okay.
Galaxy tab.
Okay, thank you. One of the things I like to emphasize about this is that I want to show you the difference between my favorite brush. I got to get it. It's over here. Might even have paint on it. Hold on. My favorite brush for acrylic and oil, and then my favorite brush for watercolor. So let's review this for a second. My favorite brush for acrylic and oil is something that looks like this. It's at least 1 inch. Look at how thick it is. It's all raggedy because I know I have to create a lot of these soft edges, and with acrylic and oil, I'm going to be able to do them with this brush. But I know that much of my texture in watercolor is created by the water randomly flowing in with the pigment. And on the bumpy paper. So what I want with watercolor is control. Look at the difference. Look at the, it's like skinny little, and then all scruffy, completely different tool for a completely different medium. So that's what I'm kind of looking for as I'm doing it. So I like to have this 1/2-inch brush to do our basic layers, which are actually going to be easier than you think, believe it or not. And then we'll get into detail work with this tiny brush. All right, so.
Leah, your brush, is it a rounded one or is it a kind of
it's flat
one?
Well, it's a, I think it's I think it would be, I mean, it's I think it would be called a bright. I don't know exactly what. It doesn't have the list. It's rounded, but it's got a flat tip.
It's called a flat wash.
Yeah, a flat wash brush, a flat wash brush. That's a great question. I do not like rounded brush edges because I feel like they leave a scallopy mark often that's hard to get rid of. And every once in a while you want a scallopy mark, but most of the time, but also it's also true, and I want to be really transparent here and say that like there's a certain kind of mark making that I like to do. And I want to make sure I don't influence you guys too much in my mark making. Right? So you should find the brushes that you like. But for me personally, I kind of appreciate the choppiness. By the way, I'm erasing any of my grid lines, any grid lines that are there. I'm trying to get extra lines I'm trying to get rid of with my pencil now before I start painting. So yeah, I like a flat because I like these short, sort of choppy strokes. I remember I used to go, it's very recently that I've really learned to like that side of my work. It's what I do without really thinking about it. So I reach for the tool that will create it without really thinking about it. That's why I'm telling you, the voice is a really magical thing. If you just get out of the way. But when I first started really getting into painting, I noticed that my work looked different than other people's around me, and it bothered me, right? It bothered me. So I've really had to learn to love my choppy way. Well, I have to learn to love it because that's what I do. Regardless of whether I like it or not, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so when we start, I'm just thinking, I'm trying to get everything on here so you can see it. Here, let's do this. I'll put you up here. So the mix that I'm gonna go with for my basic grays as we start is gonna be burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. But if you see a mix that you like better, Nina, if you like the cobalt blue mix, I'd say go for it. Like with orange, right? Cobalt blue with that orange that you were talking about, try it, see how it looks. So, you know, really, ultimately, this is up to you. Oh yeah, and then I'm gonna add my spotlight here. So for those of you who are kind of newer to this, here, I want you to be able to see how often I'm dipping my brush in water as I'm starting this process. So I'm looking at the areas that are darkest. And I'm going to start. What we know about watercolor is that if we go too dark, we can't take it back. Right? So as we start to build up our darkest areas, we're going to do it with a very light gray wash, which we're then going to build up slowly over time. So here I am. I've got my burnt umber, my burnt sienna. I'm mixing them together. And then before I lay anything down, I'm going to test here, and I can see, oh, too dark. So I'm going to dip my brush in the water. I'm going to come back and create a lighter. This is a lighter version, and this is what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to start in the darkest areas. So I'm coming here. Yeah, I do like this color. I think this color is really beautiful. Holding my blankie in my left hand because I'm right-handed.
Yeah, I think the camera moved because we see kind of.
No, it's not.
Like on the different. Wait.
I think it's your. Yeah. I have to be able to show you how this works because I have to be able to show you how often I'm dipping in white. I can remove my, I just want you to get how often I'm dipping in the water. I can pull this off so you can be able to see this again more clearly. So I'm coming in here. So notice I'm going into the darker areas. I'm not painting the eyes, just go right around the eyes. Notice every time I dip my brush in the paint mix, and you're going to have to constantly be kind of pulling more paint into the mix. I have a little, I don't know if you can see this here. I'm going to show you. There's a little bit of a collection of water and paint collecting here on the edge. So I'm pulling from that. I'm testing down here. I need more water because I don't want to go so dark on this layer, right? So I'm able to come back in. Oh yeah, actually that's a pretty good. I'm coming to the darkest areas. Can go a little darker on that. And I'm adding in this layer. So say I go to dark, let's see, I'm just going in the darkest areas. And even though these areas are darker, then I'm laying in the color on. I'm doing this kind of light layer, and then on top of it, I'm going to lay other bits. Going around the eyes right now. So this is how simple it is in a weird way, right? This is simpler than it seems. We've got these really dark areas. Look at how light I'm doing the nostrils. I'm going to skip over the nose because it's got this pink cast that I'd like to mix separately. Oops, whoop, got too dark. So I'm grabbing I grabbed too much color. Something was mixed. I think there was a little bit of too much of burnt sienna pigment in there. So whatever the gray is that you're using, you're going to just keep mixing it. Don't worry if it is exactly the same as it was before. Okay, I'm kind of using I'm actually, believe it or not, a little bit adding in some of those whisker lines. Not all of them, but just a few, kind of lightly. Let's see, we're here. I'm really going to like the darkest areas first. So I'm moving around and I'm avoiding getting any paint at all in the light areas. So if you remember, I sent you a map at the beginning of class. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to resend it with all the white areas. It's the areas that are in darkness that I've outlined in a dark marker. Those areas you're not going to put any paint in at all. By the way, these drawings are looking really fantastic as I'm flipping back through here. Where is it? It's the first. Here it is. The pink areas are not the areas you're interested in. It's the areas in the dark marker. I just put this up to the front so you can see where those areas are. So you see, I'm always testing. I'm always dipping to make my paint lighter on this layer. Later, I'll get darker. And I'm still going for kind of the darkest areas. So even in areas that are not completely white, I'm kind of avoiding those right now while I sketch in my darkest areas. And I'm not going to deal with the stripes on the fur until later. I'm just looking to see here. There's like a dark area kind of down here. Oh, went a little bit too dark there. See, it's easy to do it. Really easy to go too dark. We want to, oh no, it more like comes in like this, there. Now for the area, the kind of yellowy area that's here, I might actually go to my purple orange mix, which I actually still have some of down here. So that again is that I've sent the recipe over, but that's ultramarine blue, quinacridone red, and then a touch of yellow ochre or gamboge, kind of a mustardy yellow. See, it's a little bit yellower. And so very lightly, I'm going to lay that down here. So I have a different gray, actually, kind of coming in here. Lightly, super light. Oh, more white. I want it, but just very light. And kind of even a little bit down here. So you see, we start with these super soft layers in just our darkest areas, the ones you can see, which I'll then layer on top of once I get. There's a little bit of yellow in here too, right down here. So there's a light area, which I want to keep white. And then there's this kind of yellow area. Oh, I've got the strip here. Yeah. This is really forces us to move around the canvas a bit, around our paper. Is this all I want to deal with right now?
Sorry, Leah, so you've changed your grey slightly now. And you've got more
I'm
yellow.
switching up because I'm looking at the yellow grays here. So I had this mix of purple and yellow, and I switched it out for here, and down here. Because there's areas where this is pretty light. I'm just looking to see. Yep. And so now I kind of want a I'm going back to my burnt sienna and my ultramarine blue. So my cooler. Strangely, it shouldn't be cooler. Those are both warm colors, but well, they're kind of warm to neutral, but I'm going back to my original gray. Very lightly, I'm going over the top here. Is that even light enough? You'll notice how with almost very little pigment, but just a little bit, I'm going over the top here. Can you see how, and I'll take a picture of this so you guys can see how light I'm really going. Still not painting in, let's see, super light. And it's going to dry even lighter. So just like with everything that we do, here, let me get a picture of this so you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a light layer on top here and on the nose. It's so light that it's like, yeah, Rashmi, it's perfect. You got it, baby. What a fantastic student you are. You got it. So some of the darkest areas already, look at how compelling it is without even like much detail. So just like everything we do, we're still kind of laying down a base. Here too, I'm going to take that little light area here too. Kind of surrounding here. Even though we're we're always thinking about our base. What is our base going to do for us? And I guess the base is just way more, we have to think about it more clearly because it's in watercolor, it's so spelled out for us, you know. So we're going to go to this layer before we start adding in darkers. And I think at this point we can maybe do mixing for the eyes and the nose. So Sandra, you used, what did you use for the eye? Phthalo? Burnt sienna and white? Or was that?
That was my suggestion.
That was Diana. I like it. The only problem is phthalo is, it's got a little green in it. And I find when I'm putting my burnt sienna in, it's like turning kind of yellowish.
It
And
should turn turquoise.
Yeah, it should turn turquoise, but it just, that's not what I'm seeing happening here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just seeing a little bit of yellow there's a little bit of yellow in burnt sienna, and that's interacting with the phthalo and creating a yellow color. And it's not really yellow. There's really no yellow in there. Just
There are
thinking.
some yellow dots, but
It's
when you
not
look really
yellow.
close,
It's really not a yellow. I wonder,
it's like a blue-gray with green.
Sandra, what did you come up with?
The problem is the paints I'm using are Korean, so I only know the pigments because the names sometimes slightly
Oh,
wrong.
right. What are you getting?
So I think I was getting
Yeah, I like that. I wonder if we did it with ultramarine, if that would be better.
cobalt turquoise.
Cobalt turquoise, okay.
And then
Cobalt should be good for the.
It
and then
should, because
dark,
it's cooler.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think I have cobalt. Let me look and see.
and then it was a Daniel Smith color, but it's got two pigments in it. I don't know.
I think if you have cerulean might also be useful here. Notice we almost never use it. In fact, I don't even really have a place for it, but I'll find one. I'm going to put it right here. Cerulean is cooler. Cobalt is cooler. Do I really not have any cobalt blue? I mean, the phthalo it's beautiful. It's just a little too green. Oh yeah, this might be it. Cerulean and a touch of, okay, we're going to try a touch of burnt sienna, or cobalt and a touch of burnt sienna and white. That might be it. I like that color. Okay, so I'm trying, but listen, you can try a bunch of things. Just remember that whatever blue you use, you need to knock it back with just a little bit of orange. You need to neutralize it, create a grayer version. And if you've got white, you can pull a little bit of white in. But I'm going to lighten it. The thing about the white is we lose our translucency a little bit, but white's really opaque. Yeah, so a kind of lightish blue, a touch of orange, and a touch of, which can be burnt sienna or an orange that you mix, and a touch of, if you've got it, you can put in white. If you don't worry about it. But not too much white, because the white's too opaque, I keep wanting to do that. So yeah, try playing. Once you're done with this, we can start playing with that eye color. I can send across these. Now, when you paint in your eye, I think I'm using my big brush. You can go to your small brush. Notice that I'm going around this white spot on either edge, because we're preserving that white spot. That's like I know it's not really in the picture, but it'll always make a kind of enliven your eyes to have it there. And then once you get your blue color in, mix some ultramarine blue and burnt sienna or burnt umber. So you can make a kind of dark for your iris. Testing as always. And I noticed that the iris is kind of at the top here.
You mean the pupil?
Sorry, you're right, the pupil. Ugh, right brain, left brain. Marie and I talk about this all the time, how like the more you get into the painting that you're demoing, the harder it is
Yeah.
to talk and tell everybody what you're doing. It's a special skill. Now, you're also going to want to, now you notice I've switched to the skinnier brush. And I'm using that same dark color to go around. You're going to want to wait until your paint dries before you want to add this line in. I'll take a look in a minute. I'm just getting in. Because the paint will spread. If anything is wet, the paint will spread into, you know, one paint area will spread into another. So it's kind of a minimal shape on top. Yeah, that's looking really rad. Do the same thing here now that this is dried. So I'll send over these color combos too, so you guys have them. Hold on. Enjoying. Is anybody enjoying this?
Yes.
It's pretty neat. Here, I'm going to send a picture over. Ooh, Anik, nice. Kind of purpley. Oh, Natalia, nice. Ah, Diana, those are looking great. Nice. I like your grays. I like that they're different than mine. Oh, I can see, you know what? I don't think your grays are as purpley. I'm noticing my gray is looking a little purplier on the thing. So anyway, don't worry about it. Looking good. Julia. Julia, you went a bit dark.
Did.
Yep, particularly up here. So
Yeah.
you're going to find out when you get in. If you want to, you can take a little bit of a cloth and get some water on it and see if you can pull up the top here. But I want you to be aware of that. You cannot go back once you get dark. So it's really lighter is better. It'll be fine, but just remember to go lighter.
It's really good to have a sponge when you.
Yeah, or like your blankie, right? Like your
Blankie doesn't work as well. It doesn't suck up as well as a sponge.
Okay, sponge. Use the sponge.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, so you can also see if you can get it a little wet and see if you can pull it out. Really only on the top here. But otherwise, anyway, just, you know, we learn. This is how we learn.
I'm struggling a little bit with the mixing and the colors. I haven't quite got the hang of watercolors yet. And so
well, and you've been coming from drawing, right? So you haven't had the practice. So Emma, I'm going to tell you the same thing. The colors are beautiful. This is way too dark, honey. You're way too dark up here and down here. Okay, so pay attention.
It actually doesn't look as dark on my.
Oh, really?
Painting.
So maybe that is.
When I took the photo, it looked much darker.
Okay, so maybe that's part of what's happening. I also want you to look at your eyes. It's too dark, right? Like dark. So these eyes are kind of lighter. So just be careful.
The color you're using around the eyes?
So the color I'm using around the eyes, the dark, which is also going to go into the nostrils, is ultramarine blue and burnt umber. So a variation of the gray that we're mixing, but no water. Right, well, water, you know, enough to like apply it, but not watered down. Great work, you guys. Okay, keep going. I'm going to stop here for a minute so you guys can catch up.
I have a question. Isn't it a problem to put the black pupil because once we put the blue, it's going to reactivate the black around it, or is it best to put the pupil afterwards, perhaps?
I think she's away.
Yes, I concluded.
Pupil afterwards.
Good, thank you. That's my thinking.
All right. So let me look here. By the way, you guys are doing great. I just want you to know, Julia, don't worry about like, I mean, I guess what I would say is you're still new to painting, right? So painting is a whole different, you know, the tools are different, the mixing is different. Watercolor is a particularly hard painting technique to jump into because we have less control, right? But like, I think you're doing great. Like, it's just a getting used to it thing. So don't worry, you're doing good. I'm just looking if there's any areas I can also take this dark, this burnt sienna burnt umber and ultramarine blue. And I see that, you know, I can take it into the nostrils here. Be careful not to keep that dark part very narrow.
You have to go.
Okay, Sandra, good luck.
I sent you my beast. I have slightly different colors.
Okay, yes, absolutely. I assume everybody will be doing their own variations on this. Keep working on it and report back when you know what's going on.
I'll probably finish over the next few days, but have fun. It looks great.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, sweetie. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Sandra is feeling not well, so she's worried one of the treatment, you know, all the treatments that she's getting is causing some damage to one of her organs. So she's going in to get checked. So we want to give her a good. So see how I'm using the same color, a little bit darker with my skinny brush. Skinny here. Skinny here.
This
I'm
one
just
would be
looking.
perfect for ink, right?
Yes, it would be a great one for ink too. Yep. Yeah, ink and watercolor are very similar that way. And this, even the color version is so, you know, black and white. All right, I'm just looking to see what areas are going to be. Yeah, so now, because I've got this dark here, let's see. Yeah, there we go. So it's interesting how as you add the dark lines, do you see how much this painting starts to come to life without that much detail? Just these right here really pull it. They pull it forward. This is why watercolor is so, oh, Sandra's is looking great. Okay, so here we go. Here's where I am right now. I'm just trying to decide like where I'd like to go next. No, I think we need to go darker in some of the bigger dark areas. I'm switching back over to my big brush. And I can see that certain areas need to be darkened a little bit. So I'm going to go back in and I want to make sure that this is dry, right? Before I layer in the next level of dark. So I'm kind of going in with my same, that burnt sienna, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Always testing, right? Always testing before I get on the canvas. And I'm going back to the darkest areas. So that's like here, it's almost black here. And I'm layering in another level of dark. See how cautious I am though? It's funny how like I'm normally not a cautious painter, but like this really forces me into caution. Down in here, it's kind of darker down here. So I know that this area is lighter, so I'm kind of avoiding that area right now. I'm going to let that gray kind of stand. I know that this side of the nose is kind of darker. Gets a little bit darker here, even in the lighter areas. I'm going to skip around this. I'm looking for kind of the darker. Oops, I'm constantly having to mix more. Yes, so you'll find that like you can't really have too much watercolor pile at one time. It'll dry too fast. I dipped at least, I'm still dipping, right? But I'm now coming back in. And I'm going around the areas with lots of white. But like it's here. So where things are darker, boy, did I go too dark there? Hold on, did I go too dark? Where things are darkest, I'm now adding more dark. Now, for example, over on this side, there's this little white scruff, whiter scruff that comes against this darker area. So where that happens, I'm going to do a little bit of a ragged edge. Can you see how I'm taking my brush to create a kind of a, the fur texture? So instead of doing a hard line like this, I'm kind of creating a little ragged edge with my brush. Bringing that back here. There's still another layer of dark I can probably go. But I'm just doing it slowly. Gosh, what time is it? Oh my God, we've already got an hour and a half. Crazy.
So Leah, when you have a moment, I changed the family portrait again, but
okay, so this looks good, this edge, but just soften it. Soften the edge here. And then I think you've got it. Soften that. Yeah. Any hard edge, Diana, is going to draw our attention. So here's the challenge, right? You need a transition.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's, yeah, if you soften that edge, I think you're done.
Yeah, I was thinking that I had like an unimaginary shadow there, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I'll soften it.
Yeah, soften it. Because any hard edge will just go to, right? We go to those hard edges.
I get it.
This looks great, you guys. You guys are freaking rock stars. Rock stars. I love it, Anya.
My first ever with watercolor, and
Isn't
I'm so confused now.
Yeah, it's good that you're confused. Good. I know you don't.
It's like the mixing works so much different from acryl, and
it does. But look at
how I didn't watch.
Look at, yeah, so you need to watch. So you need to obviously come back and watch more, right? Anik, great. So Anik, Anya, nice. So Anik, are you finding this helpful? I know watercolor is your medium. Is this helpful to you? I'm just curious. Of course it is. Good. I'm glad. It's like giving you technique. So you can see that Anik has started to go over with some, very lightly, with some of the darker marks, the kind of stripy areas. And you could totally do that right now, right? So you could do that, but do it lightly. Notice how light she's doing it. Right? See how, and you want to make sure this is dry lightly. So you can start to add in some of those values, some of that stuff, those dark marks happening. We'll go back and darken it later, right? Right now, we're kind of more. Yes, see how lightly. I'm glad you did that, Ani, because I was like sort of sitting here thinking, what do I want to do next? And you just showed what I want to do next.
I also think that it's because of the fact that you for instance, you're using the watercolor in tubes, and I have the dices.
Right,
and
and
it's a little bit different way of working. At least I cannot mix those colors that perfectly as you're doing.
Right. So you got to kind of go in and
dab a little bit more.
Yeah, dab a little bit. That's good. You got it though. It looks great. And I think you're right. I think this is the moment. So you see how you guys, I'm starting to get the mark making in, but the marking is not such a big deal now. I'm going back in. I'm continuing. So I'm just continuing to work around I'm continuing to work around the painting, looking for the darkest areas. I'll talk to you about the nose in a minute, because that's kind of more of a flesh color. And so it, unlike everything else, kind of requires a different set. Nice. All right, there's this like kind of dark area down here. I want to commend you. I want to commend all of you for the work you're doing. I expect a lot of you, and I'm aware of that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm like being too hard on these guys. But I feel that you know, I want you to get all of the. I want you to really have the opportunity to try and get it and not be stuck, right? That's my goal, is to kind of keep you from being stuck. But what that means is I have to push you a little bit harder to be more precise. And I know sometimes I can be a little bit of a hard ass, but I want to credit you all. You're doing great work. I mean, look at where we are. You're doing really marvelous job. And I know I probably don't say it enough because I'm all focused on fixing things, but I just want to tell you that everybody's doing great here. See how I'm getting a little bit darker and now kind of more dotty with the whiskers once I've got my base layers on.
They look so nice.
They're cute. Don't they look great? Aren't they doing a good job?
They are.
They're really doing a great job. They're doing great. You guys are doing just great.
Okay, I'm trying again. Is this better or even more?
Let's see. Yeah, that's great. Now you got it. You got it, Diana. It's done. You got it. You got it. You got it. Natalia, that looks wonderful. Just keep going. So you can see I'm just continuing to kind of move around, keeping my white areas white, gradually layering on. I probably went too dark with this, but well, we'll see. I can see that all around this little sort of white. Oh, still too. And where I am working fur texture is where light area meets a dark area. That's the only place I'm doing it, where light meets dark. So down here, I'm trying to create a little bit of fur texture, but I'm not trying to do fur everywhere, right? I'm not trying to draw little fur things everywhere. I'm just literally going where a light area meets a dark area. So here around this edge, here around this edge, right, a little bit as we layer in our, oops. I want to stop and talk about the nose just for a minute, since that's a different color. And then I think it's just you all using your colors and starting to layer in. Is anybody like kind of totally amazed? 1 second, you guys. Did you talk to them? Did I hear you talking to them?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's all set. Yay. So let's talk about the nose really quick. Sort of most basic flesh tones, believe it or not, of all colors, species, people start with, I like to think they start with a basic sort of pink and yellow. So yellow ochre and quinacridone red or rose, right? A cool pink. And then just a touch of ultramarine blue, not too much, but just a touch. As always, most tones are a little bit grayish, not too much. There's too much there. More pink, more ochre, touching of blue. Yeah, a little bit pinker. There we go. And then it all just comes to adjusting, right? So you want a very light layer of this. I'll write it down here. I'll do a little test. Actually, I'll just take a little picture. It's pretty light right here, at least on the first layer. Here. So it's quinacridone red or rose. It's yellow ochre. It's a tiny touch, it's a corner. I did way too much. That is not the way to do it. Too much blue. Here, let me wipe it off and I'll start again. Quin red, yellow ochre, corner, tiny corner of blue, better. Kind of more on the pink side, so I'm just adding a little bit. You just want your pink. So this is the nose, quin red plus yellow ochre plus blue, ultramarine blue. But a little bit lighter than what I'm showing you. This is sort of the more basic. You want to lighten it with water. Emma, that's looking nice. Good color mixing. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now I know it's hard. You guys are doing great. There we go. And then I think it's important that we actually get the background in fairly soon, which is kind of a greeny yellow. So I'm just going to take some Viridian grain yellow and a touch of cadmium red. As we know, all landscape greens have a little bit of red in them. So I think it's important to get the background in. I'm not going to go straight with what's happening because here's a great opportunity to get your whites to show. So watch me. I've mixed this green and now I'm kind of giving this a little bit of a ragged edge here around the very edge. So notice I'm constantly going around the edge of the snow leopard to create a raggedy, a kind of fur feeling. This is where it's happening. A little bit less here, a little bit more up here. Really kind of a deep. So you see how that really helps the whites start to come out? So even though you haven't finished all your stripes, I would recommend you can, and up here it's a harder edge, and here as well, because there's no fur really. But then up here again, you've got that same kind of slightly. So you see how you kind of drag, not too much, but you kind of drag a little bit just towards the edge. Everything else is. I can see it would have been helpful for me to maybe with my pencil a little bit. So I'm going in now to add a little bit of ragged lines for my fur. So I'm going to actually, let's see, darken in over my initial pencil lines. Your pencil lines will also help here. I probably should have had us do that. Oh, well. I don't think it's going to destroy the painting or anything. Just so you'll find this is going to help you showcase your whites, which are all on this side, and also really help your lions start to come out. See how much that is really adding in. So I just feel like everything that we learned in acrylic paint just becomes even doubly more important. You can just see it more clearly when we come to watercolor, right? At some point, we have to get our background in. Our background is part of our painting. Our base is part of our painting. Yeah, that's pretty dang good, actually. You can see what the background will do for the whites, particularly on this side, the white side. Will help showcase your whites. Woo! You can also see how people would call things done here. Annika, it's coming along. So Annika, this may be your the screen correction, some kind of color correction. I really like the mark making I'm seeing on this side, but it does look a little bit brown and not gray. You're gray. Is that what's happening, or is that just what it looks like is happening?
To me, it looks gray, but I don't know.
Okay, it looks brown to me, but it might be that you're adding in that, like your camera is adding a little bit of extra yellow light.
Yeah, it could be. I got the light on.
Yeah, good. I like it. It's coming. See, look at how just laying watercolor down up here in this streaky kind of way. Look at how much that gives us. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to finish this, guys, but we will do what we can. It's unbelievable. We have 10 minutes left. I might stick around a little bit longer, another 10 minutes if everybody wants to work a little bit longer to see how far we can go. But really now it's just kind of getting darker with your layers. You'll start to notice. Here, hold on. As I come in here, things I didn't notice on my base before, like I didn't really put anything up here, right? So this is kind of a soft edge. It comes into a light area, so I'm trying to make it a little bit more raggedy across here, but I don't want to lose my white, right? There's a little bit more here. And then because this is this way, I can get a little bit darker. Right, with this bit not necessarily all connected. See how I can start to do that? Now I can start to layer in my darks because I'm starting to get a handle on my midtones. I guess really watercolor painting is about getting your midtones straight before you really get into your dark details. It's a little bit different. I'm just trying to go around in the darkest areas.
I have to leave. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Annika, great work. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'll get back.
Just keep working and send us your progress, please. We love the progress reports.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Great work. See how I'm able to kind of see how these darker bits on the top really interact lovely with the lighter, with the sort of midtones that we've already laid down. Oh, this needs to be more mid-tony. Bringing that's not so dark. It's a little dark up here. Nice. So actually, this wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. At least you guys are doing it pretty masterfully. So, of course, we also know we don't have to get every single stripe right. Is anybody feeling as obsessed as I am right now about like moving around this thing? There we go. The last thing we'll talk about is getting in some whiskers. We're going to try to lay whites down and do that. We'll see how it
We
goes.
will not fill the eye. The
What?
blue in the eye. We will not fill up the eye with that blue we were talking about.
I did it. It's done.
Oh. It's not showing you on the painting.
It is. Take a look. You're not. Don't look at this. Look at the what I sent you. Right? I mean, I could go a little. I could add a little bit darker blue in a couple of areas, but it's pretty much there. I did that. We did that an hour ago. Maybe half an hour ago. Here, hold on. Take a look.
I missed that as well.
Yeah.
What color did you use?
We were playing around with either cobalt or cerulean blue, a little bit of burnt sienna, and light water, right? Kind of a cobalt or cerulean, whatever you got, a lighter blue with a bit of burnt sienna and some water.
Nick has the perfect color on the eyes.
What's that?
Nick has the perfect color of the eyes.
Anik, what did you use?
I put first a mix of Prussian blue and
Prussian blue, that's right, which is a little bit fallowy.
And Indian yellow.
Indian yellow.
And then I just layered it with grays, Payne's gray, and a little bit of Terra Verde and green that is a bit yellowy, and then again Payne's gray to make it darker.
Nice. Here, hold on. Somewhere I have the mix for that. I'll pull it down so you guys can see it. Here, hold on. Or you can layer like 6 colors like Anik.
Yeah, that's what I like to do with watercolor.
Yeah. You
I
layer
get it.
one and then you layer another. Well, hell. I think we decided, okay, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna was the, oh, did I not take a picture of it? Maybe I didn't take a picture of it. I'm sorry, you guys. That's why you missed it. I didn't take a picture of the mix. So I have it written down, but I did not actually photograph it. So I used cerulean blue, a touch of burnt sienna. Oh, too much burnt sienna. Okay, here, let's try that. And then I lightened it with water for my base. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Cerulean blue. You're right. Sorry, I said it, but I did not. But you could also use cobalt blue and orange, you know, of some kind. Here, I want to take a picture. There we go.
Sorry, there's a lot of ambulance noises in my society.
Yeah, I got you. Also, you were focused on your thing. I went fast. Sorry, I went too fast. Went too fast.
That happens.
It looks great, Diana. He's coming along very nicely.
More fish, or I just should keep it where I am?
Yeah, I think you should keep it where it is. I like the composition. Okay. It's great. It's very cheery. All right. And then I went over with a little bit more color, more of that color with less water. on part of the top layer, but I left a little bit of white. As you're getting darker, okay, let me see if I can do this. I'm trying to get my spots dark enough and where the whiskers are. So as you're slowly building up your darks there. Yeah, like this, right? Because these are pretty dark. Notice how some of these dots kind of run into each other. I'm trying to get this dark enough. So they're not just like dot, 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 like, you know, my favorite saying, little soldiers. They are, some of them are kind of mushed together. So as I start to get darker here, as I get to my sort of darkest layers. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I'm gonna abandon you.
Okay, Diana, have a great day at work. Get a lot done.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Oh yeah, we'll draw something fun and still lifey tomorrow. Anita, how does it feel to be back?
I'm excited, but I'm terrified with what's going on because I've lost so much.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like riding a bike. You might be rusty, but you're not totally losing it. You don't totally lose it. Okay, I was trying to get dark enough here, like where the dark areas are here, so that to show you that I think we might be able to use, I don't know how many of you have white. I mean, in general, we can't use white, but white is really will work for highlights. So I've got a bunch of dried white here on my palette. I'm going to see if I can pull. Oh yeah, that'll totally work. See this? So I'm actually taking a little bit of white paint, but you have to be dark enough here for it to really show. A little bit of white paint for the whiskers. I can see that actually here. I want to be careful not to add too many white areas, because so you can actually use white paint once you're done, right, to add your whiskers. And it can be tube paint or it can be regular paint. What I'm seeing is, oh, I didn't really get dark enough down here yet. So I want to get that happening before I lay any more whiskers down, because I want my whiskers to show up over my dark. And then this as well, there's a kind of draggy kind of darkness happening there. It's interesting. Once you get into it, once you sort of get into the details and a detailed area, you'll start to see the dark, medium, light transitions more clearly. And this is where you should be kind of getting into a little bit more detail, right? Or where detail can really help you. But before that, it's probably not so helpful. Let's see. And I want this to be yellower. Wish. This is kind of yellow here. I can see. So you start to see these transitions. I feel like this is the way to start to get into detail. Once you've laid your base down, then you can start seeing the minute shifts and changes that are happening, right? Like here, I can now see that it's kind of slightly darker gray here and lighter gray here. Same over here, it's even more dramatic. So it's gray, it's not quite exactly white. I can see I need to go back in and darken. A watercolor lightens as it darkens. That's the one saving grace about it. So sometimes when you go too dark, Oh yeah, that's looking great, Anik. It really is. Anita, nice. Yep, you're getting there. Just let yourself go slow. Give yourself a little bit of a respite. You don't have to go fast. In fact, watercolor really kind of encourages you not to go fast. See how I'm sort of gradually going darker? However, I did want to save a little white area in there. I might have done it. There we go. I mean, you could just keep going around this thing for many hours. You could also decide, okay, I'm done. Like, that area has to get darker. Yeah, coming along. A little bit darker.
Yeah, do you remember colors for the nose? Because you probably sent, but there are so many.
I just sent it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, let me resend it. Yep, here it is. Colors for the nose. It's a little bit darker. So you want to lighten it with, and it looks a little bit oranger than it is. It's actually pinker than it looks. I don't know. The camera seems to be turning everything yellow this morning. I don't know. I could go over here with kind of a very, here, get rid of this green. I could go in with a very light, kind of more yellowy, but still with purple, mixed with purple in here. Whoops, too dark. Watery. So this is my kind of more yellowy gray. Although, oops, there is an area that's pretty white here. Isn't it wild? Just goes on and on. All right, work for 5 more minutes. I'm gonna stop right now just to like find a place, just because at some point you have to stop. But I want you guys to work another 5 minutes. See where you can get to. Notice I'm having a little bit of luck adding in using white on top of dark. That can sometimes happen, but mostly I'm really interested in getting whiskers in. Notice there's a couple of dark whiskers in with the light. So if you can see those and get those shapes, that can really help. Let's see, I've got a dark one. I can do a dark one. You guys did really great. Everybody's work that I saw here, really great. Nina, does this jibe with the stuff you've been learning with your other watercolor teacher? Out of curiosity. Oh, did we lose Nina? Oh. Oh well. Yeah, 5 more minutes and then we will stop. But you, of course, can keep on going. And you know what, you guys, I would highly recommend you try these 2 lessons. They are very different than what we're doing today. Like this has got a lot more detail, but I think you will see a very pleasant buildup if you work on those lessons. If you try these lessons, I think you're going to find a lot of improvement. By the way, like the sort of instant gratification of creating, I see Rashmi did it. I see a couple of people did it, of like giving yourself your tape border is that, look how nice. You have a kind of instant art piece when you pull the tape off. It's really satisfying. It's like, oh, it's done. Although this looks like a human shoulder. I've got to work that area a little bit more before it doesn't look like a cat head on a human body, but I will do that later. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll work on mine later. I mean, I've just reached the point. I'll keep adding.
Yeah, let's send it over.
Yeah, I'll just send it.
Yeah, it's so great.
Oh, Rashmi, it's coming along. It's looking great.
It's Anya.
Oh, I know, but I was just looking at Rashmi's. I was just looking at Rashmi's piece. Yes, Anya, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that it's so great because actually it's so nice to feel that you have less control, because I think when like you always want to control things and here you just understand that you can't, and
well, and that you don't need to. That you don't. Oh, Emma, nice. That's coming along, right? Like we don't need to, like less is more, right? So when you let go of control and you let the brush and the marks and the paper, yeah, you can do so much. Look at, this is why people find watercolor so compelling, Anya, you always have such a nice way of putting it. You're absolutely right. It's so compelling watercolor, right? Because the marks are always so clear. Because the way the water runs, it does so much of the work for you. I guess that's the better way to think about it, right? It does so much work for you that less is more. You can let the paint and the text water and the pigment and the surface like do a lot of the texture work that normally we're kind of anal about trying to get in. Yeah, it's kind of relieving. He's cute, Anya. So I think you lost some of your drawing. Oh no, you just need to keep going. Just keep going. Keep layering in. I see your drawing there. It's good. I know. It's true. Yeah, he looks pissed. Rashmi, this is really good. So don't worry, you're just continuing. I love your nose color. Same with you, Emma. I think you guys really got it. Anya, you all got it. Really great.
I think that mix works very well on skin, like on the tongue as well.
Yes.
We used the same thing on the tongue last week for the koala.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I like to call basic flesh color. And actually, here I'm going to remove the spotlight. And I want to look at you guys all before we go. I like to think of this as basic skin flesh tone that can be used for any color person and any color animal. Like you just darken it with a little bit of burnt sienna or burnt umber for darker tones, but like this kind of pinky orangey color is under everything. It's funny because I was watching last week, we were doing, Emma was doing skin tones, not you, Emma, my teacher, Emma, was doing skin tones in the kids class that she teaches on Sundays. And she had a bunch of little white, I'll just be blunt, she had a bunch of little white kids on including Lucy, right? And so Emma was like, this is skin color. And I said to her afterwards, you can't talk about it like that. You're going to make a whole group of people feel bad, but also it's not true. So here's how I want you to talk about it. And I realized how true it was. All skin tone, all these flesh tones have a little bit of pink and yellow, every flesh tone, every single one. And then we adjust it darker or lighter using these colors, right? So let's think about what the colors are. So I said, when you talk about it, I want you to talk about it that way so that you're not making a kid who's darker feel bad or a kid who's lighter feel bad, right? Like you're not making kids are more olivey, like whatever it is, you're not making those kids feel like that's not their skin tone. So it was just interesting to think about. As I watched her do it, I was like, oh, language, it's all about describing it. And also color, we have some basic colors that are in all of us. So I really like that idea. We all start with this base and then the things get lighter or darker. So wonderful work today, you guys. This was hard. And as you notice, we did not finish. So keep going. And please do consider trying the ibis, the white ibis, and the sandpipers. Try those. Those are up on the website now. Try them if you have some time. Rashmi, you got to stay inside, so you might as well just do more watercolor painting.
I tried that lily last time.
That looks great.
Beautiful. I had sent
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really
so
nice.
See, just keep going. Yeah, go through the watercolor lessons are really worth it to do every single one. I'm trying to do a different subject for each class with similar ideas so that you guys can just like build upon it. I know at some point you have to actually do your jobs.
Can we do once scenery or
we're gonna go
with nature,
we are gonna go
landscape. That's the one.
yes, we're gonna go from we're gonna move to sort of colorful. Now that we've done white, we're gonna move to colorful still life. So I want us to try lemons and orange slices. I want us to try one or two more of those things, and then we're gonna go to landscape, and then we're gonna do cities. So we're gonna try to do all of it before, except for I don't think we're going to do people.
So
But
I'm,
we'll
I'm,
do.
st- I'm still remembering when I was trying to paint the Rashmi's coffee beans. That
Yeah, those were
hard
so
time
gorgeous.
with watercolor.
Oh my God, that's true. We could go back to. I love that image so much. I actually have that one, the one that I did, framed and hanging up in the studio. I liked it so much. All right, you guys, great work today. Everybody stay safe. Tomorrow we'll be doing a still life and beginning drawing. Marie's doing water reflections on Sunday. The kids are learning how to do, they asked to learn how to do figures and clothing. So that's what that's what Emma's gonna be working on with them. And then I will be, we're gonna do a little bit more work, tiny bit more work in the oil and acrylic paintings. We'll do a little bit more work on this, maybe about half an hour more. And then I'm gonna set up a still life for the Sunday painting class. And we're gonna either in acrylic or in oil, you're gonna do a still life that I set up for you. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. See everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, guys.